Matt, you joined us back in 2008. What was your earliest memory of playing here at Warrington?
Sounds pretty cliche, but the weather was pretty different to what I was used to. The fans also were pretty crazy. The first little period of 2008 was really good for us. I remember we had a great game against Hull, my first game here, and scored a try in that game, which was off the kick-off, which was great. And the fans going bananas was like something I never experienced. Actually, it felt like they were right on top of us. And I suppose that's my earliest memory, which was a happy one.
And Angela Vennick would like to know what's been the best thing about your time here at the Wire.
Obviously, the two trips to Warrington, the two trips to Wembley have been pretty special. But I've also, away from footy, I've met such great people. Not only the boys, but the club here, and people have been so lovely to me and my family the last couple of years, and started a family while I was being here too. So it's been a pretty big transitional period in my life, and it's been great fun.
I've got a message here from Anita Williams. She'd like to say, thank you very much for letting me cut your hair. It was one of the best days of my life, and she wants to know what you're going to miss most about Warrington.
The friends I've made, especially the boys that I've been playing with the last 4 years. Players have come and gone, but there's been a real core nucleus of the team has stayed, and it's those friendships which I'm not really going to lose, I'm going to have forever, which has probably been the highlight of my time.
And who would you say has been your favourite player to play alongside and against in Super League?
Alongside, I'd hate to single any one of these great players out, but the first person that sort of jumps to mind is Mozza. He's without doubt the best front row I've ever played with in my life, and he leads not so much with his words but with his actions, and what he does for this club and this team is unbelievable. What was the second part of the question? Against. James Roby's a good player, and obviously these last couple of years Sam Tompkins has come from the clouds. He's hard to handle, but I think consistently over my 4 years here, James Roby's killed us.
And Josh Pitt would like to know, have you enjoyed playing for Warrington more than any other club that you've been at?
Again, that's a pretty tricky question. My first club I played with in Australia, being Melbourne Storm, was like a dream come true for me. I grew up in Australia and followed the NRL my whole life, and so to play rugby league in the NRL was very, very special. But Warrington's right up there for me. I don't mind saying that after we got beaten by Leeds a couple of weeks ago, I was in a flood of tears. I've lost the grand final back in Australia, but I think the game against Leeds, the loss that hit me harder than the loss against the Broncos back in Australia. It was not for once during that week leading up to that game, or fortnight leading up to that game, that I think we're going to lose. So when we got beaten, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Jamie Platt would like to know, if you could choose to play any match again, which one would it be and why?
The two games at Wembley were pretty special, but don't know, that's a good question. I think maybe the semi-final against Wigan to get us into the Challenge Cup, to get us into the final at Widnes in 2009 maybe. That was a pretty special game for me. I scored a couple of tries and had a pretty good game, and just thinking back, that was a good afternoon.
And Sammy would like to know, would you consider coming back to Warrington at the end of your career?
Do you know what? Maybe not to play. I think I've got 2 years in Australia. I'll be 33 by the time that finishes. So I don't think Warrington would want me, to be honest. I'll be pretty slow and grey hairs and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. I'd love to coach at some stage, and if things pan out that way and Smithy's still around, he might give me a job.
And Paul Lowe has a message, just wants to say thank you very much for all the memories. Do you think the club will need to replace you, or is there strength within from the time that you've seen here?
Without doubt. Smithy just needs to look in his own backyard. Everyone's sort of talking about Rhys Evans and Rhys Williams, but it's that middle group of players that, I'll say 20 to 23-year-olds, the Matty Blythe and the Ben Harrisons and Richie Milers and Ryan Atkins, Bridgie. It's these guys that are going to hold the club in good stead for a long time. And Smithy has got an unbelievable squad at his disposal. I don't think he needs to buy anyone, to be honest.
And Barry Walmsley would like to wish you and your family well for the future. And he asks, surfing on the Gold Coast or surfing the internet in Warrington?
It's a bit of a silly question. No. We fly out on Sunday and we fly straight into the Gold Coast. So got 3 weeks in Surfers Paradise, which is I'm looking really forward to.
Robert Webster would like to know what's been the worst and the best food that you've eaten whilst here in England.
Best food? Well, Nando's tastes 10 times better here than it does in Australia, so I can see why there's always a queue at Nando's. It takes you half hour to get any food because it's so tasty. So I love Nando's, but the worst, I've been to Scotland and had black pudding, is it? Yeah, that's rank. That's horrible, so that's not really England, is it? But yeah, no, the food is pretty similar to Australia, to be honest. So found all our favourite little places and restaurants to go, so it's been good.
Linda Armstrong would like to know, will the cracket be available in the UK, and if so, where can she get one?
We're trying really hard to get it to the UK. I'm speaking to a distributor at the moment, so we're trying to get it in for Christmas, but we think that's going to be unrealistic now. So fingers crossed it'll be next summer, and I'll have to keep everyone posted as to where it'll be distributed. But yeah, fingers crossed next summer everyone will have a cracket.
And Trish Shelley in Australia would like to know how different has it been playing over here in England to back home in Australia, and how do you feel coming home to play for South Sydney?
Yeah, I'm excited about going home for a few reasons. Taking my little baby girl home is good to my family hasn't met her yet, or Kirsten's family, so that's pretty exciting. Yeah, so I'm excited about going home and playing for South. They're a great club and with a very rich history. The difference in the footy over here, it's a hard one to hit the nail on the head. It's in Australia, everything is so structured. You sort of know what your job is every set of 6, and you just go out and you do it. It's almost mechanical, almost like a robot. Where here in the Super League, it's look up, see what's in front of you, and pass the ball around, have a bit of fun, and score lots of tries as we've done this year. So it's I think that contributed to me struggling for a little while, just getting used to the style of play. And but yeah, we got there in the end, and I think that's the biggest difference.
Paul Bedford would like to know, do you think you've got a chance getting back into the Australian team now you're heading back home?
No. I haven't even entertained the thought, to be honest. I've got a big job getting into the South team, to be fair, so hopefully I'll have a really good pre-season. I'm not disrespecting the Australian jumper or New South Wales or anything like that. If I got a phone call and said, would you like to play, obviously I'd play. It's a privilege to play in those sort of jumpers, but yeah, there's a lot of good kids coming through back home at the moment, and I think they've got the jump on me.
And finally, how would you like to be remembered at Warrington, and do you have a final message for the fans?
I don't know. I don't think it's up to me. It's up to the fans. It's up to each individual how they'd like to remember me. So hopefully I've done enough good things here in my time where people remember me fondly. Hopefully that's the case. I've tried hard to be a good person, so hopefully that's been. Hopefully people have noticed that. But what was the second part of that question?
Final message for the fans.
Final message for the fans. Yeah, it's been a rocky relationship between us. I've got no qualms in saying I didn't play to the standards I know I could have in those first 12, 18 months. But they say you've got to hit rock bottom before things climb back up. So I definitely hit that point at some stage early in 2009. But since then, everything's been awesome, and the support I've had from the fans when I thought I had none was amazing. So obviously this last 2.5 years has been a great time for the club. The fans have been a big part of that, and for us all just to miss out by this much this year has been disappointing, but hopefully we can think about the year we've had instead of how it finished, and everyone can leave with we can all leave with a big smile on our face.